Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. As you know, 1M is the first and only global virtual incubator and accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion in global GDP, and 10 million jobs. And in support of that mission, we do these mentoring roundtables, free mentoring roundtables every week. And this is our 264th session. So we have been doing this for a little while. And the event is being recorded. You will have a recording available on our blog as well as on our YouTube channel. If you're live tweeting the show, please use the hashtag 1M1M. And if you would like to follow us on Twitter, the two handles are at 1M by 1M, and my personal one is at Romana. So you can follow either one of those. We do publish a lot of very, very rich content, educational, inspirational, informational content through all our channels, all our social media channels. The YouTube channel is at 1M1M Roundtable. All recordings of prior sessions are available there. These are the call-in instructions. We are not quite ready for call-in right now. I will put this back up when we are ready. And in our continued programming to celebrate the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, of which we have 12 volumes out now, the latest being $1 Billion Unicorns. We bring you today a special guest, Rene Lacerte. I've been friends with Rene for many, many, many years, and Rene is a really fantastic entrepreneur who has done already 2 very interesting, innovative companies. And he's running Bill.com today. He's also the founder of PayCycle, which was one of the earliest cloud payroll offerings catering to small businesses, and it got acquired by Intuit a few years ago, actually. So Rene has had a lot of success already under his belt, and he's doing more important work with Bill.com. Rene, I love what you do. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me, and congrats on all your success. It's great to think about our first conversation back in, I think, 2006 and 2007 when you were getting the first book out. So
it's
great to see the 1 by 1 million just getting stronger and stronger.
So, Rene, there is a lot of things that we want to cover in our 30 minutes today. You have done 2 companies, each focused on providing some form of financial services to small businesses. Your first startup was PayCycle, that provided payroll services to businesses with more than 20 employees. Intuit acquired the company for $170 million. Tell us about Bill.com. What does it do? Why is it unique and powerful?
Yeah, so Bill.com is about dramatically simplifying how businesses pay and get paid. When you think about the number of checks out there, there's something like 21 billion checks in the U.S. alone last year. Of the 21 billion, 19 billion actually involve businesses. And you think about the cost of a check payment, the research that we have shows that cost is somewhere around $65 a payment. So if you look at the 65 times the 19 billion, you get over $1.2 trillion in inefficiency in the economy. And I just hate inefficiency. If I have a chance to kind of work on it, whether it's at home or whether it's in something that helps other people, that's what I like to help with. So at Bill.com, we're about eliminating the inefficiency, and the way we do that is by automating the payables process and the receivables process. We automate workflow, we automate document management, so we eliminate paper, we eliminate checks, we create the ability for you to collaborate with your employees, your vendors, your customers, your accountants. We integrate with your banking systems, we integrate with your accounting systems, and we do it all so you can do that from the phone. So you can be anywhere in the world and you can actually have your office in your back pocket. So you can have your filing cabinets, you can have your employees, their sticky notes, all the stuff that businesses use today to manage that process for paying. We take care of it and make it an automated solution.
And what is it about catering to small businesses and inefficiencies in particular in the small business market that fascinates you? You seem to have a real touch about that particular segment.
Yeah, for me, I grew up, I'm a 4th generation entrepreneur. So great-granddad had a couple of stores, general stores in Canada. grandfather had 7 businesses. My dad had 5 businesses he was involved with. So having grown up around small businesses and seeing how you have to wear multiple hats and, everything from, in the software space, writing code, servicing that code, selling that, code into the customer base. Wearing all those hats means that you're fragmented and that you need efficiency to get your job done. So I kind of identify with how when you can get rid of those mundane tasks, those tasks that actually hold you back, there's just an opportunity for you to reach a new height when it comes to managing your business. And so one of the things that I feel when I look around the solutions that are out there, the ones that are getting built, the ones that get traction today, for the most part, consumers have been, solutions have been built for consumers. But I have not seen a lot of solutions built for the SMB market. I've not seen a lot of solutions that have been targeted at businesses, below the 100, maybe even the 200 employee range. So that leaves, lots of enterprise solutions that have been built. And if you think about the SaaS software solutions that are king, whether it's a SuccessFactors or a Salesforce or a NetSuite, all of those solutions are really targeted at enterprise. And then you think about, well, the small business, well, Intuit's got a great solution there, but what about all this inefficiency? What's something new that can help businesses do their job better, not just get an incremental improvement, but a revolutionary improvement? And that's where you get into thinking about the back office and how it's just full of paper, and there's just, why not eliminate it and make it a lot simpler for businesses to manage? So I guess I had this affinity because of the environment I grew up in, and then I also worked at Intuit for a number of years, so I obviously understand, the focus, the attention, and it's a really hard problem, and I like solving hard problems. Reaching the customer is hard, making it simple enough and efficient enough that the customers can solve it and serve themselves with the product is really important, and that's not something that most people know how to do. Most software companies don't take that path because it is so hard.
So for this particular segment, I think my next question is very relevant. We are seeing a trend of SaaS-enabled business process outsourcing. Some call it do it for me as opposed to DIY, do it yourself. When it comes to SaaS, the assumption is that you buy the technology, but the small business or any business is going to do the actual work themselves on top of that technology platform. But this whole SaaS-enabled BPO versus or do it for me trend means that whatever business process you want to take and farm it off to a service provider that fulfills the with the help of both technology as well as people who are trained in that business process. Would it be fair to say that both of your startups have been in this? What percentage of technology versus how much people participation is needed in delivering payroll or accounts payable, accounts receivable in this mode?
That's a great question, and actually I would say that has been a big part of my focus and my attention has gone to, in making it more efficient. One of the things you don't want to do as a business owner is I don't want to be removed from the process entirely. When I go to pay bills, when I go to manage the payroll, that's when I get connected to the business more so than when I am actually working and looking at a P&L. The P&L kind of is something that's historical that lets me see something as in the past. But managing the actual bills, managing the payroll, that allows me to really think about my employees, my vendors, managing the invoices, my customers. And so I just think that when you have fully outsourced solutions, the do-it-for-you solution removes the entrepreneur away from their business, and I don't like that. I actually like staying connected to the business. And so at PayCycle, the term that we coined and used, which I think is similar to what you're talking about, is a do-it-with-you approach. So it's not necessarily do it for me. It's not necessarily do it yourself. It is we're going to do it with you. We're going to take out all those mundane tasks, all the sausage making that nobody likes to do. We're going to take all of that out and make it so that you get the finished product that's a lot easier to manage and work with. And so what we've seen is that businesses like that. They like staying connected to their back office, to their customers, to their vendors. They like staying connected to their employees by reviewing the payroll. They like that connection, but they don't like the grunt work of filing a tax return or actually printing a check and then signing a check. They don't like that type of mundane stuff that can't be automated. So when we look at it, if you automate everything like that, we see from our customers at Bill.com, we see that our customers say that they save on average 50 to 75% of the time. I was talking with a customer last week, and they were saying how they took a process that was normally taking them 3 to 4 hours a week to manage their payables and receivables down to less than 15 minutes. So that's a tremendous amount of time when you're an entrepreneur to get an extra basically 3.5 hours back out of your life. That's a lot of time you can go work on either collecting those bills directly or building a new service or selling something else to the customer and having more time with your family. That's time that's really valuable. And so what we find is that the technology, can actually give back tremendous amount of time and be a huge efficiency gain and not really involve more people. It's actually using less people because everything is being automated both for the business and for us. Does that make sense? Does that answer your questions, Rene?
Yes, and let me actually call this out to the audience. Those of you who are building, SME-focused, especially small business-focused solutions, under 100 or under 200 employee or customer-focused, business customers-focused solutions, maybe you want to take note of what Rene is saying about the do it with me versus do it for me or do it yourself. So these are, in some ways, 3 different subtle categories, 3 different subtle distinctions. And as you're designing your solution, you may want to keep these distinctions in mind in your product strategy evaluation and, figuring out your game plan. So Rene, switching gears a bit, you did say that acquiring customers for this segment is really hard. And I remember that for PayCycle, your channel was the accountants who helped small businesses with their accounting. What is your strategy with Bill.com? What have you learned? What can we learn from you?
So at PayCycle and at Bill.com, we kind of had 3 core channels that we went after. We have a direct channel, and at PayCycle, that was easy because if you went to search engines in 2001, 2002, and typed in the word payroll, nobody was buying that keyword other than PayCycle. So we were getting lots of search traffic that drove a good part of our growth for many years. We also had the account channel where we would go to the accountant and develop a tool for the accountant to manage multiple client payrolls within their customer base. And then we also went to banks, and so we had a solution with Bank of America, which was the fastest growing payroll service in America the first 3 years that we had it before we sold into it. And we had other banks that were partners. So we had 3 channels there. We had the same kind of a channel approach at Bill.com. Our first approach, the direct, is a little bit harder here because there is no particular category that you can say buy and just have all this stuff to do. But what we have found is that we are able to attract larger customers. I think you mentioned PayCycle had the focus of less than 20 employees, and we have a focus at Bill.com that's probably, if you work with NetSuite, Intacct, Xero, or QuickBooks, we work with you. It doesn't matter what size of the business you are. So we have public companies that use us all the way down to, self-employed companies that use us. And so that range means that the Google search and digital marketing does bring us a bunch of leads that we can then close. We also go through accountants, and for example, our largest accountant has over 350 customers on Bill.com. We have 40 of the top 100 accounting firms that are on Bill.com, and that enables us to, one, serve them so they can be more efficient with their time, which when they're in the bill payment process or the invoicing process for their customers, the bookkeeping, it takes a lot of time for them. And if we can give them tools so they can then go out and manage multiple clients with ease and make more money out of it, then that's always a great thing. And then the last category would be partnerships. So we have partnerships with Bank of America, PNC, and another top 10 bank that we are going and selling the back end basically for their business solutions, their payment solutions for businesses. But we also have partnerships with Xero that we've announced, NetSuite that we've announced, Intuit that we've announced. So lots of great opportunities for us from a partnership perspective to integrate our solutions into where customers might be looking for a payment solution, whether it's the accounting software or in the bank solution. So a lot of great opportunities and different ways to attack the market.
You said, so keyword search, PPC or organic keyword search is still a source of leads even for Bill.com. I'm just curious, what kinds of keywords are people looking for? Because this is not a category. Payroll, people looking for payroll solutions, that made sense, but are people looking for bill payment solutions?
Well, so if you type bill payment solution, one of the key problems with that is consumers are still looking for bill payment solution. While 50% of consumers have adopted some type of an online bill payment solution, it's still much better known from a consumer perspective. So there's so much noise in there that we actually don't buy that word, that phrase, because it actually becomes problematic. We might buy the phrase business bill payment solution. We will buy actually more technical terms that businesses that are looking and working with the treasury services that banks have are used to the words such as ACH or electronic payments or something like that. So there's a number of phrases that we will buy. It tends to be that the more technical we are, the more successful it is, the more efficient it is, we might buy the phrase some accounting software and the bill payment solution together, right? So but it's hard just to buy bill payment because it is such a well-adopted consumer solution, and it creates a lot of noise out there.
Right. So again, to call out the lesson in that is, you have to kind of be careful about what you're buying and don't buy things that are not going to convert, especially if you have a keyword that is broadly applicable to other segments, then you need to kind of figure out the long-tail keywords that are more specific to your segment that will actually yield good conversion rates. Otherwise, you end up spending a lot of money on not very productive PPC campaigns. Okay. Once again, switching gears, what has been your financing strategy with Bill.com? What stage are you in now? Are you getting close to this, unicorn billion-dollar valuation? And what has been your philosophy in selecting investors?
That's a great question. I think in the market right now, in Silicon Valley at least, as you know, it's kind of very excited, if you will, and there's lots of opportunity for entrepreneurs. And so advice that I typically give entrepreneurs when it comes to this is, you got to pick the best investor for the long-term growth of the business, and you cannot pick this based on valuation. So I don't think about valuation. I make it sure that we're valued appropriately, but I don't make it the highest and most important criteria when I select an investor. So I've turned down higher valuations before, and I'm sure I will turn down higher valuations in the future because there wasn't an exact fit with the vision of the company. There wasn't an exact fit with how I wanted to kind of manage the company in alignment with the cultural values that I build the company around. So those are all things that I think I kind of answered the second part of your question first, but those are all things that I think that are really important when you think about taking money from anybody, whether it's an angel investor, a family, a friend, or a VC, or it's early stage or late stage or growth or whatever. And I would say, for us, we are at the growth stage of the business where we're just continuing to grow and scaling that business, and we know the opportunity is there for millions of businesses to be on the Bill.com platform. And we have, today we have over 600,000 members that use our network to get paid across 15 million bills of $20 billion moving through the system. That's a tremendous amount of activity, and yet we know it's just a fraction, and literally it's a small fraction of the opportunity out there. And so you have to have investors understand that, innovative solutions do take time, and that there are things that happen overnight, but most businesses that are built in the Valley, they take time. It's hard work, it's execution, and, it's kind of what you hear from every, not that I'm a huge military strategist, but every military strategist say they take execution over strategy any day of the week. And so I think when you pull that back into your investors and what you're looking for in your investors, you want to have somebody who appreciates execution. You want to have somebody that appreciates how hard it is for you to build a business, how hard it is for the market to adopt, and is going to be patient, and it's going to ask you great questions. And, one of the things that I look for is the types of questions that a VC, an investor, asks me when they're putting money in. If they ask me questions that makes me think, then I want them. If they ask me questions that I think are annoying, then I don't want them. And you get those. You get, people that don't take the time to really understand your business when you're looking for money and don't know what's important. If they can't grasp and grok, so to speak, what the most important factors are to drive your business during the investment analysis phase, chances are they're not going to be able to support you when you're actually have some challenge 2 or 3 years down the line, and you actually need a lot of smart people around the table to help you figure that out. So hopefully that answers your question, but I'd say, don't, go for a clean term sheet. I think that's something I learned a long time ago from one of my investors was that, it's far more important to have a clean set of terms than to have a high valuation. And, when you hear about all these unicorn valuations, and then I hear about some of the terms that some of the unicorns are taking, it is, it's something that I wouldn't do, and it's not something that I advise anybody to do, because in the end, for me, this is not about, making the highest valuation in the short term. It's about making the biggest value impact with the business that I've started. And that if you make that big impact, you'll get the best return.
My observation about the industry as it stands today in 2015 is that we have 2 kinds of entrepreneurs and we have 2 kinds of investors. And in both categories, there's the builder, the one that focuses hugely on both strategy and execution, but really is focused on building long-term value, value creation-oriented mental models. And then there's the contrasting set, which are the speculators. There are speculators both in the entrepreneur class and there are speculators in the investor class. So you kind of have to understand, as an entrepreneur, you have to understand what category are you in? Are you a business builder? Do you have the patience and the persistence and the interest in creating value over a very long-term horizon? Or are you a speculator? Are you trying to make money, essentially, somehow or the other, preferably quick? And you accordingly should choose investors who align with your mental model as well. And if you are, and I've known Rene for a long time, so I know that he's a through and through business builder. Rene, your mental model has no speculative instincts in it, and which I admire greatly. So that's, if you are of that category, and that, by the way, I'll be very honest, I'm not trying to be, unbiased or non-judgmental at all. I hate speculators. I hate speculative entrepreneurs, and I hate speculative investors. So I'm very much and you'll see the kinds of guests that I invite here are all people who are, whom I admire, whose work I admire, whose value systems I admire, whose, ability to stay with it, with complex problems and crack complex problems I admire. So the ethos of 1 million by 1 million is very much in the category of business building and staying with it for the long term. And as a result, the investors that we attract, the investors that we tend to work with most closely also happen to be of that category of the business building types. So Rene, just, in terms of metrics, how much money have you raised so far? How many rounds? And, who are your investors? Just give us a little bit of the facts so people, correlate with the philosophy with some numbers.
Yeah, so we've raised about I think a total of $130 million. Some of that has been debt, but most of it's been equity. And we've had 6 rounds of financing now. And the investors, I didn't do an angel round because when I was starting the company, I had promised one of the investors that I have that I would deliver him a short overview of what I was doing by May 1st, 2006. I decided to leave the day-to-day PlateSmart in January 2006. I had breakfast with him. So I promised him by May 1st I'd have a presentation, a short 7-10 page or something like that. And as I was sending that out on April 29th, I thought, I'd send this to a few other investors that I worked with at PlateSmart. So I sent it to everybody who had worked at PlateSmart. And one of the guys, Tom Blaisdell at DCM, jumped on it, and the next day called me and said, hey, can you come out to the office? And then the following day, on Tuesday, I said, hey, let's have dinner. And then he gave me a term sheet for $2 million. So didn't have to do the angel round, so that became my Series A investor. I have, so Tom's a great guy from TCM. He backed me both at PayCycle and here. David Hornick from August Capital, Brian Jacobs from Emergence Capital, Tom Mooney from Icon, Rory Driscoll from Scale Ventures, Steve Piacher from Napier Park Global, which is an East Coast firm, New York financial services focus, and then a guy named Mark Johnson from TTB in Atlanta, which focuses on financial services. Mark Johnson was the vice chairman and earliest employee, I think, at Check Free. Pete Kite is also an investor. He's the founder of Check Free. So one of the things you're hearing as part of the strategy is when I get angel investors, if I do take angel investors, I try to take, I'm fortunate that I can kind of say, can they also add value? When I was doing PayCycle, it went to all my family and friends, and a lot of people, it was 1999, a lot of people wanted to kind of get in on the buzz that was happening in Silicon Valley, so it was easy to raise $25,000 here or there from, maybe 30 or 40 people, and all of a sudden we had $1 million, and that was great. This particular funding, I was able to say, well, is there somebody that's going to add a lot of value, whether it's Pete Kite or Mark Johnson or, the founder of iPay, Dana, so I kind of been fortunate if you had that opportunity to kind of focus the angel investors to be folks that are in your space that can help. The alignment is actually a great alignment that helps me manage the company better and grow as an executive.
In general, I think when you're raising money from people who understand your space is going to be easier because the investors are also looking to invest in things that they do understand. So that's absolutely correct. And of course, if you have track record, then you get to pick and choose even more and fine-tune that strategy further. So I know we have about 3 minutes of your time left, Rene, and I want to ask a question that is kind of about the small business opportunity. I'm very bullish about both SaaS and SaaS-enabled BPO, DIFM, and as you called it, do it with me, DIWM now. We'll add that to our vocabulary here. These kinds of business opportunities catering to the SMB market. Are there specific areas where you see entrepreneurial opportunities that are untapped within that general framework?
I think, the area that we're in, I think is fairly interesting is, not just improving a solution that people have today. So not just taking existing software and putting it into a cloud-based, environment. It is saying, well, now that I have a cloud, now that I have a central database with a central user management system, essentially, right, a user experience system, now that I can centralize and customize the data that any particular user gets and the user experience that any particular user gets, what does that mean that I should go and build? What are the things and tools that businesses could have help with? So I looked at the back office and said, tired of the paper-based, manual-driven process, it needs to be automated. There's lots of things like that, and I think the other lens that I would encourage people to look at is how does the mobile increase and the demand that's happening with mobile, how does that change your perspective? I think it's easy to think about, and actually it's interesting, I'm going to speak I'm attending a CEO conference, and I was asked to kind of list my favorite app, on the phone. And they said, you can't choose Bill.com. So I went to the phone and I looked at the hundreds of apps I had, and none of them were changing my life. They were, useful. When I travel, definitely the Passport really helped me, or Uber helped a lot, right? But it wasn't something I used every day. And I think there's a lot of stuff that businesses, you think about from a consumer standpoint, I could say, hey, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is that I'm connected to socially, all of that matters a lot to your social connections. How is that going to change for businesses? How is the mobile world going to change how businesses do business? And I think that is kind of, to your point, the business process outsourcing, to do it with you, to do it for me, to do it with me. That all of those things are ways that you can look at the market and see that this is just a tremendous opportunity. I think that combination, again, is it's the mobile platform with a customized user experience and a customized data set from a cloud-based platform. You combine all that, you'll come up with lots of solutions that nobody saw before that will just be game changers. And they will take time. I mean, like we talked about with building, they will take time to build. But it will be obvious that it's a game changer when you start playing with it. And your customers will tell you that. That's one of the things that I've had my investors have asked me at times when we've had a quarter that didn't go as well. And they say, okay, well, how are you feeling? I'm like, you know what, I feel more bullish today than yesterday. And it's true every day of this business. There's something that makes me feel better about what we're doing, that we're closer to understanding how do we get to the millions of customers using this. How do we impact that, that impact of $1 trillion on inefficiency in the economy? And that's what you as an entrepreneur have to look for. You have to look for those data points to understand, am I selling myself something that I shouldn't be, or is there real factual enjoyment from the product and the customer service experience that you're delivering? And there's lots of opportunity.
Very good. Thank you, Rene. We'll have you back sometime after you have more interesting things to share, I'm sure. But for the moment, we are at 8:30 a.m. and I know you have to run,
okay.
And we will continue.
Okay, thank you, Shamana. Take care. Okay, bye-bye.
We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Folks, we're going to move to the mentoring section of the program today, and our first presenter is Carl Lamberti from PlateSmart. Carl, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're working on, that would be great.
Good morning, Shamana. This is Carl. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
That's great. PlateSmart, well, first of all, I'm the VP of Business Strategy with PlateSmart Technologies. PlateSmart is a late-stage venture software company. We help solve some huge problems with our wholly owned video analytics and LPR software, which is license plate recognition software, in commercial, governmental, and military deployments. As you can see by our awards, people are starting to take notice. Revenues from our license sales are growing, and the demand for our solutions is intense and global. We're seeking $15 million in growth capital from the right investor in exchange for 10% of our company. And you switch to the next slide. Thank you. We have some significant benefits over our competitors, and the reason we're disrupting many industries across 12 verticals is it's the first software-only video solution. We work with cameras new and old, even the new HD cameras. There's no dedicated hardware required. We have a cloud-based product, and we deliver actionable intelligence that can help save lives and do things for businesses in real time. Next slide. PlateSmart over the years, and it's kind of, we didn't know we were bootstrapping, but we have been. But over the years, in rolling out our product, it started in 2013 with our first customers. And a big jump for us was when the Undersecretary of the Navy gave us a sole source contract and said this is the only known LPR solution that he's seen that works and certified by the for use by NCIS. Some other awards in the industry with the Govies, and recently we've partnered with Teradax to bring in technology to give a comprehensive data tracking system for people that use the data, and also to protect innocent people's data from ever getting out into investigations or into the public. Next slide. Some of the things that we're doing that are different, it's less cost. We're camera agnostic. We think we've got a good jump on the competition. We're the only software that reads in color and can read all over the world plates in real time. And we're very flexible. Some of the other competitors in the industry have their own closed systems, and if you don't do it their way with their stuff, it doesn't work. So we've seen customers come to us in large part because of the flexibility for what they need. Next slide. And this is what it looks like. In a nutshell, Sramana, this doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. We've built a system that can integrate with cameras. It can automatically access multiple databases depending on whether it's a commercial application with employee lists or people that aren't supposed to be on the properties list, all the way up to NCIC, federal government, three-letter agencies. Depending on the authorization of the user, they can have real-time access to databases that they control. I've got the link here. I could talk about it all day, but if you go to that link and watch the video in 4 minutes, it'll show you. Thank you for switching. We have 12 different verticals with paying customers. They're shown there. We need to expand our markets. We've done all this without an outside sales force. We're looking for larger sales. We're working now with cities and states. And we have a growing international demand that's coming at us every day. Next. Our revenue models are twofold. We have a per feed license fee for the fixed camera applications of $3,000 first year. The mobile solution is actually down now to $8,000 per system. We can work with people that are building their own with the Linux, and for parking and access control, we're $1,600. It has a recurring revenue in our model, and some of our customers are already in their second and third years and are paying us a maintenance fee and then the cloud-based fee. Next. Here's the second most important slide in the deck. The biggest companies in the world have come to us, instead of trying to build it themselves, instead of saying we can do it better than you, they've seen at the trade shows and in the demonstrations what we have, and we've now got very strong relationships with Telco, Schneider Electric, Samsung, who's embedding our software into their new cameras, Axis, Masoa, Panasonic, and if you go to PRA Location Services website, they have picked us for their global LPR fleet technology in the repo business, and that business is growing too. Next slide. Some of our current clients, we're still over 60 now on actually 5 continents that we have. The Port of Tampa, they've come back to us a second year and said we like it so much we want more. University of San Diego, we've got numbers of projects in Australia. You see a Uruguay with a city surveillance, and then commercial with Ralph Lauren, and then we're doing projects now all over the country with these different 3-letter agencies and government agencies because they need to find some bad people, and we give them real-time data analytics to help them find bad people sooner. Next. PlateSmart was founded by John Chigos with an idea to help if an Amber Alert went out because somebody's kid was kidnapped. He wanted the good guys to have the technology to find that person. And if a policeman pulls somebody over and they needed to know were they pulling over a felon with a gun or just Mrs. Smith, they needed to know that. So from John's early beginnings, that's why he started this. And you know all the threats that are in the world. We think PlateSmart's positioned very well to continue our growth. We've proven that it works. We've generated revenue, and I look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Carl, what is the size of the company? What did you do in revenues in 2014?
About 550,000.
550,000, okay. And you said you have raised capital?
Yeah, this company's been raised with friends and family. We've raised about $12 million to date over the last 6 years.
12 million?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Excuse me.
12 million. You raised $12 million for this.
So far.
And the revenue level is 500,000 last year. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. This year we're on track to do between 5 and 10 million. We've got some large contracts that are over $1 million in the closing process now apiece. So the groundwork's been laid, and we've done our work, and now we're starting to get paid. Ma'am?
When did you start the company?
The company actually goes back about 10 years, 2006.
I see. So, you know, you asked for my comments. My comments would be, I would like to understand, if I were your investors, I would like to understand the total available market as we model it, you know, not some pie-in-the-sky total available market, but a granular bottom-up total available market analysis and the correlation with deal sizes, correlation with pricing model, business model, and how that rolls up to that TAM. And kind of map that to a sales process that scales much better, because 10 years to $500,000 is a very long time to get to that, and with $12 million in investment, that's not good return on investment for the investors, right?
Our first customer was in the fourth quarter of 2013. The market changed in the way the cameras were made, and then when the new IP cameras came out, is we were going with the analog cameras, but that changed, so the business model had to change. And then when you get to the size of the market, there's a recent study that says there's 245 million surveillance cameras that are already deployed in the world. And these cameras have been deployed by Samsung and Hikvision and other big companies that are now working with us. So the market is coming to us, and it is big.
So how much do you charge in subscription revenue per camera? If you were to use that model, what would that roll up to be?
Well, the first year per camera is $3,000 for the license, and then $600 in years 2 plus.
$600 is the recurring revenue. $3,000 is kind of like a setup, and then $600 is the recurring revenue per camera.
Yes, ma'am. And for example, there's a project we're doing in New York now that's 220 cameras in the first wave. So you can.
That's where your $1 million deals are coming from, is installations where there are large numbers of cameras, 100, 200, 300 cameras, basically.
That's correct. And what Aries gives us is the potential to network all those, and it doesn't matter whose cameras they are. They could be Samsung or Pelco or Axe, it doesn't matter.
And how many of these deals do you have in your pipeline?
A lot. I mean, I couldn't say exactly, but I would say over the next, if we look out 12 to 18 months, I would say about 30.
Okay. All right. So it's $30 million plus deals in the pipeline is what you're saying. So you could start to see an inflection point in 2015-16 timeframe.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Do you have any other questions?
No, but my main question is we feel like the company's based in Florida, but to find the right type of investor, we feel like we need to come to Silicon Valley, and I'm asking, how could you help us or suggest things along that line?
If you could hang on, I will talk about how 1 million by 1 million works with entrepreneurs later on in the program, and I will address the question in that segment. I need to work with 2 more entrepreneurs first, and then I will do a segment on how entrepreneurs work with 1M1M.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Sanjay Kumar Das is next. Sanjay, are you on the call?
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Go ahead, Sanjay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So, good morning, everybody. And I just want to give a brief introduction about the company and the team. Myself, Sanjay, I am professionally a software engineer, and by training, I am a PMP certified project manager. I have worked for other employers for more than 20 years to secure a paycheck and a retirement nest egg, and finally ventured into entrepreneurship quite late in the game, though it was always in the back of my mind. In 2009, we packed our baggage and went back to India to give full time in entrepreneurship. And Hello Doctor is my third venture. So first one was in IT, which never took off, and the third one was in pharmaceutical, which I sold a couple of years ago. Hello Doctor 24/7 started as a social enterprise to serve the underserved in India. 2 young doctors, Dr. Lalit and Dr. Dev, they were looking for a technology and financial partner to start a mobile phone-based health information line in India. it was sheer coincidence that we were in the same city, Bhubaneswar, in the same time, and thinking about the same problem. Like in India, if you are born in America, you really cannot think of the problems faced by millions in India who do not have access to any healthcare information or any health service. And many preventable deaths. There are so many challenges, like, and I can go on, but the thing is, we wanted to solve this problem. We wanted to address this problem in the rural India.
Okay.
And coming back to customer value proposition and what we are trying to address is, 21% of the world global burden of disease, it comes from India, and India loses 6% of GDP. And underserved rural population of India, there is around 70 to 75% facilities are in urban area, that is in cities, but 70% of the patients, they come from the villages, the rural districts. There is a huge challenge with maternal mortality and as well as children health care. People don't have access to reliable health or support system. There is tremendous increase in diabetes and heart diseases. So what kind of value proposition Hello Doctor is giving? It is a health, health is a call away. Today, mobile phone penetration is very high in India. You can go to any village and people have mobile phone access. And we have a live call center. People can call anytime for help, for information, for a referral, and all these are free. And we try to provide right information in right time. Now, the way we are trying to monetize is now we are providing teleconsultation, which is paid. So we have started with in January. So far, for last 5 years, all the services are free. Now it is time for monetizing, and we have started paid teleconsultation. And we are trying to address non-emergency care as well as the preventive and chronic disease management. We are trying to bring awareness about the non-communicable diseases. Can you go to the next slide? So segmentation and target customers, again, it is, as I mentioned, like, 70% rural population, they don't have access to hospitals or doctors. And the recent survey, it indicated that 70% of prescriptions are generated by quacks in India. Quacks they are not qualified doctors. They have not gone to any medical school. They became a doctor in villages, and they are prescribing any type of, any antibiotics or any medicine they can prescribe, and there is no legal action on that. Then there is no second option for a second opinion. Now, suppose you are not happy with whatever diagnosis your local doctors are doing. So if you want to go for a second opinion, there is no available doctors in the area. You may have to travel hundreds of miles to get a second opinion. So today, somebody can call us and we can help them with second opinion. So can you go to next slide, please? So our customer acquisition is, we have been doing health camp in different areas in the city, and we are going to rural, rural districts. We have now tied up with public sector banks. Banks, they have their branches in rural areas, and we will have a kiosk so that when the customers, bank customers or anybody goes to bank, they can use their wait time to have a consultation with our service. If they want to have their blood pressure checked or diabetes monitored, they can do that. So we are using we will be using, though we have not focused much on the social media yet because our focus was in rural segment. We also provide free services like blood donors. In India, unlike in Western countries, if you have to undergo some operation and you need blood, the hospital will ask you to collect your own blood. You have to find a donor. So we have a database of donors. So when somebody calls us, the person will be going to the hospital and donating blood. And this has been a very successful and very, this has been liked by many. It has saved many lives. So in the validation segment, so far we have served around 100,000 callers, 5 years of free support, and as I mentioned that we are trying to monetize now, and that is paid consultation. Since last 3 months, this data is for February through February, March, and April, 700 paid teleconsultation, and we have around 200 plus doctors in our panel. We were awarded the best private sector initiative by India 2010. And we were also covered under CNBC Awards in India as Entrepreneur of the Week. I was invited to Malawi, Africa by Consult Worldwide to help them with a similar project for mother and child. And 3 years, INR 6 million contract with a hospital in India. So we are basically supporting their customer care management as a technical solution we have provided, and they are paying us money, and that is how we are maintaining this free service.
So what is the unit pricing model of these paid teleconsultations? So 700 plus paid teleconsultations at what price point?
It is below $3 per consultation. Sometimes it is $1. If the call is for say a couple of minutes, it can be below $1.
So what has been the revenue generated out of these 700 paid teleconsultations? Like $500? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is close to 30,000 rupees.
30,000 rupees, okay. And
yes.
INR 6 million contract, that's about $120,000?
Yeah.
And that's this contract, this patient relationship management contract from KIMS Hospital, that's what allows you to do all this other stuff for free, yes?
Exactly, right.
What do you want to do with this business? Are you trying to build a business, or are you trying to run a nonprofit?
No, I am, sorry, I missed the screen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we are trying to build a business, though our focus has been as a social enterprise. So
because I need to understand that to advise you on what you should be doing. If you want to build a business and really make money, then you should be focusing on more patient relationship management contracts with hospitals like the this KIMS hospital contract. You should get, 10, 20 more contracts like that and really scale that business.
That is definitely one of our approach. We will do we will do that, and the other area is through corporate social responsibility. Like in India today, all the banks, they have a mandate to spend 2% of their revenue income as a corporate social responsibility, and I got a contract with basically is an agreement with the Punjab National Bank, and they will they are piloting this model to help their customer with their health care. So through that, we will be generating revenue as well as we will be increasing our customer base.
And one thing that comes to my mind is the CSR projects. Are they looking, is there any issue around giving contracts to for-profits versus non-profits? Like, do they need to give contracts to NGOs, or can they give contracts to a company like you that's a for-profit enterprise?
They, at least as far as I know, they don't have any challenge as long as the service is provided.
But you should check that. If that is going to be a major mechanism of generating business for you, if banks, so CSR budgets is going to be one of the areas where you're going to go to generate, significant size contracts to cater to their customer bases, then that's a question you need to check.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, I think those two strategies seem fine to me. Both the bank catering to the customer base of these rural banks, as well as catering to the customer-patient relationship management on behalf of hospitals. Both of those sound fine to me as long as these are sizable contracts that lets you deliver your service, because this paid teleconsultation I don't think is going to scale, because the people that you're catering to don't really have money to pay, and you're charging so little that it's going to be very hard to make any significant business out of that.
Okay.
Okay. So those are my comments. Is your business fundable? Not at this point, not until you validate that you can really generate a revenue model. Right now, you've generated one, patient relationship management project, which is a sizable project. If you can show that you can scale that across a lot of hospitals, or if you can show that you can scale a lot of these Punjab National Bank kind of projects, then there may be a possibility of funding. And at this stage, no.
Okay.
So you need to do more validation and building the case for funding. At this point, based on what you're showing, it doesn't have enough validation to qualify for funding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Madan Ganesh, you're up next. Act on Magic.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Shramana. It's great to speak to you. I'm a great fan of you, and I'm a great promoter for one program. At least I've spoken to 5 other entrepreneurs in the last 1 year to get benefited from this program.
Thank you.
That, sure. I'm Madan, founder, CEO of Act on Magic. We offer intelligent hybrid cloud analytics platform for web scale IT. Bit more myself. I have 15 years of experience working in HP and leading a team in a startup and getting acquired by Citrix. And in Citrix, I worked closely with different kinds of telecommunication companies to offer infrastructure as a service solution. That's my background. And as a company, this is a completely bootstrapped company for the last 15 months. And we won numerous awards and recognition in the last 1 year. Next slide, please. we have a paying customer, uCloud from Nepal, and we've also done a couple of deployments in Dubai and Switzerland. These two are on-premise installation of our solution, and we have also launched our SaaS platform last month, and we have hosted we are in the process of hosting our SaaS application in Exoscale Marketplace, who is one of the big cloud service provider in Switzerland market. And we have a $250,000 of a pipeline, which we worked over last 1 year. And we are also a 663 certified partner. Next slide, please. Yeah. The way we started was, since I had a background working with cloud service providers, I could witness various pain points they went through when they ran their business. Basically, we were thinking what differentiates these regional cloud service providers from AWS or Google Compute. And the key point that came out was, they were able to, AWS and Google Compute were able to make better decisions because they have enough data and they have a good analytics platform where they can mine, and then, they make cognizant and very proactive decisions. Whereas these cloud service providers, they were not able to do that much of decisions as their ability to mine the data is very limited. So we started with, if we speak of the environment, there are a lot of data that are being exchanged, right from the customer data to the infrastructure data and the usage data. So since we have a strong domain expertise on this field, we are able to mine these data and then provide actionable insights for these cloud service providers. This is how we started 1 year ago. And as
let me ask you, since you know my work and you follow my work, I'm very, very particular about positioning. So what I'd like to understand, what I'm going to advise you to really get as much clarity as possible on is very precisely positioning what you deliver. So are we talking about mining data generated by these cloud service providers, and in terms of actionable insights, what are you providing actionable insights on? Is it how to, is it DevOps kind of stuff?
Yeah. How to prevent customer churn, and how to plan your capacity in the data center, and how basically monitoring your VMs and the entire infrastructure, and to keep them in healthy state. And we don't want people to be in a reactive state, like the customer left, or they destroyed all the VMs. We want to give proactive alerts and actionable insights so that customer can take well-informed decisions and they can retain their revenue, and potentially they can sell more add-ons to their existing customers.
Okay, so I think in your head, you kind of understand what you're doing. Your presentation does not capture that as well as it needs to. So you do need to improve how you communicate what you're doing so that it's very clear very quickly.
Sure.
And it will help you tell and get the word out on what you're doing, also generating inbound leads and so forth.
Sure, Shama. Thank you. I take that feedback. Yeah. And this is our offering. Basically, we have both on-premise and SaaS offering. Our core value proposition is our algorithms, the predicting models what we have built over the last 1 year, which will allow us to protect our IP from the competitors in the market today.
So here's a good example of a slide where you have a lot of technology, in this bullet points here. All the bullets are technologies, right? What kinds of technologies enable your value proposition? What is missing from here is the value propositions themselves. Like if you do all this stuff, what is the problem that you're solving? What are all these things that you rattled out when I asked you, when I probed? Those are the ones that you should be leading with.
Okay. Okay.
So
sure. I get it.
If you decide that you're going to work with 1 million by 1 million, the premium program, I will work with you to fine-tune this stuff, because this is important. In terms of selling at a high velocity, this is very, very important.
Sure, Shama. I'm already sold last minute. I've been waiting for that, and I look forward to work with you to fine tune this, and then I'm gonna take it forward. Yeah.
Okay.
And at this point, we work with different partners, Citrix, IBM, and Exoscale to get their customers onto our platform and sell their product to them. And we also got a lot of customer referrals from our existing relationship, and we are selling them. And we have a SaaS platform, so we started to do an inbound marketing, like blogging about the hybrid cloud market, and then invite them. People drive people into our site, and then do a trial, and then convert them to a paying customer. That we have started to do with the last one. Yeah. Next slide, please. This is a very raw slide, Shama, you could advise me. This is actually the way, there is a Gartner side where it says, it's an $80 billion market and things like that. I wanted to go bottom up. Basically, we see that there are two technology platforms, CloudStack based and AWS, which host, those guys host 4 million VMs. So we think, we can address those markets to begin with. Now we wanted to charge like $2 per VM per month, which translates to $8 million per month. That's not year, $8 million per month.
Per month, not year. So, I have a mistake there, right?
Yeah, that's a mistake, yeah. And so we have built a platform in the last 1 year, so adding additional support for OpenStack or other cloud service provider would be, a few weeks effort for us. We have a large market to reach out to, and next slide, Shama. And yeah, so I shared what we are doing and what we are going to do, and your feedback.
I think what you're doing probably is, I haven't seen a competitive positioning. Again, to position something like this, we need to understand what is the competitive landscape looks like and all of that stuff. I think roughly your TAM it's a relatively small TAM, but if there is a product roadmap that supports additional pieces, then this is a fine place to start, that you can generate significant revenues. If there's a $96 million a year kind of market that is your entry point, then what we need to develop is a product roadmap that allows you to upsell into those accounts additional pieces and so forth, so that instead of $2 per month per virtual machine, there is more like $10 per month per virtual machine worth of product and worth value in there.
Sure.
So again, as I said, I'll work with you. If you are in the program, I will work with you through that process. I have a lot of contacts in this space in terms of people with expertise and investors with expertise and so forth. So if we can create something that is fundable, then we can easily go to that network and get the business funded. But there's work, as you can tell, this from from even just knowing the work we do in a free mode, that there is a lot of stuff missing from this pitch before you can go to investors.
Sure.
We can tackle all that. What are you asking about moving into Silicon Valley through accelerators? What is the question there?
No, I had that question last week, someone, and you can ignore that at this point. Yeah.
Can ignore that, okay. All right, then I think what you have is the beginning of something very interesting. This is the kind of company that it may make sense to do it in Silicon Valley, but I'd like you to build more before you move to Silicon Valley. You must have read my piece recently about moving to Silicon Valley. By the way, Carl, I would like you to also, if you haven't read that piece, Carl, you should read it as well. There are certain, I'm not advising everybody to immediately move to Silicon Valley right now. I would like you to develop enough of the, you want to get to a point where you have enough validation, enough proof point, your story is well understood, ready to be told the way an investor here can digest, and then make a decision, make an informed decision whether it makes sense to move to Silicon Valley or not, and accordingly raise financing. So we can help you with that process. If you want to move to Silicon Valley, if it makes sense to move to Silicon Valley, we will advise you through that. We will help you make that transition, and we are very deeply connected here as well as elsewhere. But let's kind of make those decisions, make those, the preparation, lay the groundwork, and so forth in an informed way, not in a gut-based decision, okay? Silicon Valley is a tough place, and the cost structure of Silicon Valley, the talent situation in Silicon Valley right now is quite complex to navigate. So I would like to, I would like to work with you again to make sure that that decision is made with full understanding of all the nuances and the implications.
Sure, Shamana.
But I think that's something very starting out. You're starting to see good resonance from your customers and potential channel partners. So yeah, let's carry on.
Sure, Shamana. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Folks, as Madan said, he's been referring people to 1M, and I request all of you to do that. If you know serious entrepreneurs who are looking for help, we are here to help you. We are here to work with you on whatever issues that you're dealing with. And if you choose to be part of the 1M Premium program, we will work with you in every dimension of your challenges. Let me walk you through the resources and how to use 1 million by 1 million. Everything starts at 1mby1m.com. You sign up there and you have a very rich console as your base, resource. We have a powerful blog. There's a lot of people who learn from 1M just by following our blog, and we are perfectly okay with that. So please use that resource. It's very educational, very inspirational, very informative, and extremely, extremely rich. It's not superficial by any stretch of imagination. It's pretty much designed to work with people who are thorough, who are, deep, who are the builders, like we discussed earlier on with Rene, the notion of speculators versus business builders. We are on the side of business builders, not speculators. So everything we do is designed with that philosophical premise in mind. You'll get a lot of material also in the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, and they're available from Amazon, Kindle, and Flipkart. The entire series is available from Kindle. That's your best bet, actually, to get the whole series. But then if you want the paper books, the first 5 volumes are available as paper books for Amazon and Flipkart as well. Okay, now this is what our site looks like. There's a ton of videos, video FAQs, etc. These roundtables happen every week. This is the 264th roundtable. We've had over 30,000 people attend these roundtables at this point, so please feel free to use them. As you can see, even in a short conversation, there's a lot of things that, a lot of course correction, a lot of direction setting that we can do even in a 10-minute conversation, just because, this is something we've done for a long time, and we have a lot of expertise, a lot of depth of knowledge in how things pan out, just from working with so many investors, and we are happy to work with you to help you, get benefit of that experience. Now, if you're going to, somebody I think sent me a private chat asking if you would be able to showcase your idea today. The best way to showcase your idea at a private roundtable, at a public roundtable, is to go to this free public roundtable link, and you will find the whole schedule of upcoming roundtables, and you can register to pitch. Once you register to pitch, Maureen will send you pitching instructions. That's the way to showcase your business at one of these public roundtables. Then we have the private program, the premium program, essentially, and that's a $1,000 annual membership fee. If you choose to join the program, we will help you with extensive methodology guidance. We have a great curriculum where we have the input, the experiences, and the advice of over 600 successful entrepreneurs like Rene, who was here today. Rene is part of that, body of entrepreneurs who have contributed to developing this curriculum. We will help you with business development. We will help you with strategy consulting. This kind of strategy consulting in a much more in-depth, much more intense way happens inside of the premium program. And then as you develop into a fundable situation, we will help you with financing. We'll introduce you to investors and help you negotiate, navigate, process feedback, etc. And you keep hearing from entrepreneurs who have done it before. You heard it today from Rene. Valuation versus terms. Terms can kill a business. When you're negotiating with investors, investors can saddle you with terms that you do not want on your term sheet. And these kinds of things, first-time entrepreneurs do not really have the experience to negotiate, and we help you with all of that. So, as far as we are concerned, we are on the entrepreneur's side. We will watch your back, we will cover your back, and we'll make sure that you're avoiding as many of the common mistakes as possible, just because that is our commitment. That's why we do 1 million by 1 million. Also, we have a lot of contacts in the media, and we have a huge clout in the media through our own channels. And we will help you get your word out into that audience through all of our resources and channels. Now, to understand some case studies of success stories in the 1M1M program, you can go to the $1 Million Club link on the home page. We also have an ROI analysis of the program. We charge $1,000 annual membership fee and nothing else. And that quantifies to about $375,000 plus 5 to 10% equity worth of value that you're getting for just $1,000 annual membership fee. It's a tremendously high value program. And we really, the whole point is you're going to have to, however, work on it, right? We give you orientation material on how to work, how to use 1M1M effectively. But you should ask yourself the question, can you work in the mode that 1M1M is designed to work? It is not for everybody. You have to be kind of a self-starter, a self-learner. Are you going to be able to contribute 50, 60, 100 hours of study time on your own, listening to video lectures, reading case studies of people like Rene and whole lot of another, several hundred entrepreneurs, and really learn from them? Because there's only one way we can transmit that knowledge from our, heads and our material to you is to have you study. So it's like a gym, right? If you go to a gym, you're going to have to go work out on the machines. And if you don't do that, just buying a membership is not going to help you make progress. So it's important that you use the entrepreneurship gym machines, which is the studying, which is coming to the private roundtables, and engaging in these strategy discussions, taking the feedback that you get from the strategy roundtables that I will be working with you on, that I will be giving you. You're going to need to go process that, do more work on it, come back and refine it and so forth. So it's a back and forth process where I will work with you very closely, but you have to do your part, otherwise we will not make progress. I can't make that progress for you. The self-assessment that is available for free on the website is a set of questions that you should ask yourself. And that's about calibrating your business, where do you stand, what are the issues that are missing. And then I've given you all the curriculum modules. If you're a premium member, you would be able to plug your knowledge gap by going to the curriculum modules related to those questions. The site is full of information about the program, so dig around, spend some time on the site to understand what to expect from the premium program. There's lots of video FAQs that pretty much answer everything, all the questions that we've got so far. And even in the curriculum, it's actually, because we've been doing this program now for almost 5 years, we've got a tremendous amount of video lectures and case studies that we've put together, modules that we've put together that address all the different topics that come up in our discussions, in our mentoring work. This is what makes 1M1M scalable, because every month since we launched the curriculum, we have added to it, and we've added modules around questions and discussions that have come up in the program over the years. So the core curriculum has 7 modules, and electives have another 10, 12 modules. these are topics with lots of sub-modules essentially. And the structure is all case studies of several hundred successful entrepreneurs plus video lectures. The case studies we started doing back in 2006, it's almost 10 years of case study development of early stage technology and technology-enabled services entrepreneurs. You get to learn from incredible people. This, body of 600 entrepreneurs who have contributed to the curriculum includes over 50 companies that are billion-dollar plus in market cap, and some of them are like 12 billion, 14 billion market cap companies. So these are entrepreneurs who have been very generous with their time and their energy to help us build this material. And then we have over 350 entrepreneurs who have raised a lot of venture capital, and you'll get to learn from them, and they have built highly valued companies, maybe not billion-dollar yet, but some of them are on their way to building billion-dollar companies as well. Then we have tons of bootstrapped entrepreneurs, hundreds of bootstrapped entrepreneurs. If you're building a business in a bootstrap mode, we have a tremendous amount of resources on bootstrapping, and we also have we support both 100% bootstrap companies all the way and companies that bootstrap first and raise money later. In fact, that is the principle of the program, is to bootstrap first and raise money later, because you kind of have to, you don't have a choice. Investors are not writing checks unless you have a level of validation that's, defensible. The core curriculum has 7 major topics: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, customer acquisition, financing, and team building. And then electives, we have all sorts of sectors in Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, healthcare IT, mobile and social apps, online education, gaming. We also have a separate module on building unicorn companies. We have one on women entrepreneurs, so on and so forth. So huge, huge amount of depth in the community and in the content that you're going to be working with. And as I said, methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. And I said we help you with coverage, so you can go to the press page and click on coverage of 1M1M Premium members to get a feel for some of the coverage that we've generated, and also go through the how can you use the 1M1M Twitter channel to get a feel for how to use our social media reach. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, we have huge reach. My LinkedIn influencer column has 143,000 plus followers as we speak, and is growing every day. So we can get your message out to a huge number of people, literally, in the click of a mouse, with the click of a mouse. And that's very powerful. You get a credible, really credible platform to get your message out there, and we'll help you with that. We'll work with you with that. So definitely, it's a proven program. At this point, we've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. We've seen a lot of success, and we don't consider funding to be the success metric. Our notion is entrepreneurship equals customers, revenues, and profits. Funding, exit, these are optional. If it makes sense for you to fund the company, we will help you with funding. But if not, if it makes sense to bootstrap the company all the way, that's fine too. We'll help you with that as well. So in that mode, in either direction, we've seen a lot of success already. So, at this point, I would say that I had started this program about 5 years ago with a certain hypothesis and a certain, vision. And I think from a model-wise, we have proved that it is an effective model, and we can scalably ramp up lots of entrepreneurs and help lots of entrepreneurs around the world in this virtual mode. So you can be anywhere in the world. You're most welcome to join the program, and we'll get you going. So the other thing that if you're working with entrepreneurs in any part of the world, if you're trying to do development of your entrepreneurial community, you're welcome to become a partner of the 1M1M program as an affiliate. Upcoming free roundtables all through, we have one more in June, and then all through July we have roundtables. So lots of options through the summer for you to come and get help here. Vision India 2020 is the 13th book from the 1M1M platform. It's an ideation book. It has $45 billion ideas that, and we are sitting, it's written as if we are sitting in 2020, written as fiction, and we are recollecting on how these $45 billion businesses have been built. So there's a lot of strategic nuances, a lot of depth and details. In fact, I was thinking, Sanjay, when you were presenting your pitch, you should take a look at Vision India 2020. There's a whole section on healthcare, and you'll find a lot of resonance in that section on some of the ways that I see things evolving, especially catering to that underserved population as far as healthcare is concerned. So there's a chapter with like 4 or 5 business ideas around that I suggest you look at.
Okay.
By the way, these ideas, the Vision India 2020 ideas, would pretty much apply to all emerging markets, whether it's Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia, China, wherever you look, those ideas would pretty much apply. And they're emerging market ideas. Now, we also have an incubator in a box program which can help, companies. Mostly we work with corporate partners to power their corporate incubation programs, but we could work with other types of organizations as well. We have, just to kind of run down on the latest latest Entrepreneur Journeys books. $1 Billion Unicorns is the latest book. Carnival in the Cloud focuses on cloud computing. Bootstrapping with a Paycheck focuses on the specific type of bootstrapping where you hold on to your full-time job and then use this program to develop a business up to a point where you feel comfortable, going off and doing this business full-time. And we are very supportive of that mode of entrepreneurship, and this book basically gives you a lot of color on that style of entrepreneurship. From e-commerce to Web 3.0, e-commerce is an area where we see a lot of entrepreneurship, and we will continue to see a lot of entrepreneurship. It's a practice that we have that we really believe in, and we have a lot of expertise in. So if you're doing an e-commerce business, this is a book that would give you, again, a lot of depth and nuance around that topic. Next week, in fact, we have a guest from that world, from the e-commerce world, a fantastic company out of Europe. So I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I think you're getting used to getting a nice little surprise at the beginning of the program to see who comes to the program. So I'm not going to spoil that surprise. Now, actually, we are ready for call-ins. If you would like to call in, the instructions are all on your screen. You're very welcome to call in, or you can ask questions in public chat as well, and I'll be happy to answer. Anybody? Questions, comments, introductions is a good time to introduce yourselves, tell us where you're joining from, what you're doing, what is your project, how did you hear about 1M1M, what are you here to accomplish, etc. We love to get to know you. Anybody?
Samana, this is Sanjay again.
Yeah?
Hello.
Hi. Go ahead.
One of the recent study by PlateSmart, they mentioned that India has a $3.4 billion in healthcare, mobile healthcare kind of business. So we recently in India, I was recently in India, and we were talking to some of the local investors, and they valued they valued our company around 10 crore Indian rupees. And one of the investors, they wanted to fund us 1 crore for 10% equity. So at that point, I basically, I was thinking, like, is it the right time to take funding from investor, or I can still fund it for a couple of, say, another 6 months and see if I can grow it to grow the business or generate some revenue and get a better valuation.
Well, I think, Sanjay, the big question right now for you, if I were you, I would not fund the business right now. I would try to do the things that we discussed earlier on during your pitch, is to get the deals. validate the business model, get the deals. Can you get more patient management deals, patient relationship management deals? Can you get more of the bank deals that cater to their customers? And what do those numbers look like? And build a, kind of projection pro forma based on those assumptions, because investors value companies and investors fund company based on these assumptions. What business are you building? And without validating assumptions, I would not fund the company.
Okay. Yeah, I think
so if you decide that you want to work with 1 million by 1 million, I will help you with that process.
Yes, sure, and I agree with that. In fact, I told my team, unless we can generate some revenue and investor may not like us, so that is our focus. I have now, for last 1 month, I was in India because, I tried to get this contract with PNB, and I also worked with the tribal minister, central tribal minister, and we are going to have a e-health clinic in those tribal districts in Odisha, and he has technically agreed with me. Only thing is, we have to see how the funding, because I can only spend so much from my pocket.
But this is where, Sanjay, you're going to have to be a lot more disciplined in your business building process. You're kind of going in all different directions, and if you choose to work with 1 million by 1 million, I'm going to constrain you significantly in terms of strategy.
Okay. Definitely. Yeah,
I'm coaching you. I will not let you run in multiple directions like that, helter-skelter. So before you join the program, please be aware of that fact that you're going to have to accept a bit more, discipline in how you execute on your business. I can guarantee you're going to be more successful, but you'll also have to be more disciplined.
Yeah, I have been very generous with my paychecks and investment in this company, and definitely my wife and kids are a little concerned that you are giving away all your money. So I need to be disciplined.
Yeah. So and that discipline, in our program, the discipline is on making sure that you are investing your energy on the things that generate that maximize the return on investment and create a scalable path to building a robust, profitable business so that everybody is taken care of, and that's just the philosophy of the program.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Quickly, I want to introduce you to Irina Patterson. Most of you probably know her already. Irina is the person to call if you're going to have questions about the 1M1M program. The best way to communicate with her is at her email address, irina@1mby1m.com. If necessary, she'll get on the phone with you or Skype with you as well, but mostly I think email works very well. You're welcome to contact her. Is there anybody else with questions? Let's see. Pavan. So, folks, please don't send me questions privately. This is this is the public chat time, so send your chat to all participants, not to me personally. I see that Rishikesh Pandit was asking, would I be able to showcase my idea today? You sent me this message privately, and I think I answered you just a little while ago. And Pavan Panchmukhi has sent me a private message asking, this is Pavan from Bangalore. I have a pitch scheduled for July 9th. Okay, fantastic, Pavan. Look forward to listening to you. And Rishikesh, please also sign up so that Maureen can schedule you for a pitch in an upcoming session. Anybody else? Questions? Questions, comments, introductions? Pavan Panchmukhi, how would you define market validation? Pavan, this is not a 1-second answer. We have a multi-segment lecture module with case studies, with the validation, with answering this question is 1, what is considered validation, and 2, how to validate. So you're going to need to go through that module in the program to be able to understand what is market validation. So it's all addressed in the curriculum. Anybody else? Questions, comments, introductions? When you pitch, Pawan, I'll give you some very specific, guidance like you saw I gave other people, but that's pertinent to your business. But to give you a generic lecture on validation, this is not a good use of our time right now. Okay, well, I don't see any further questions. Don't be shy, guys. This is a very, very safe place, It's a working area. Everybody understands that we are here to get work done, make progress on what each of you are working on. So you don't need to be shy. You don't need to be scared or nervous. This is a place where you get guidance in a safe mode. And that's the whole intent of the program. This is why I give you feedback that is not necessarily what you perhaps want to hear. It's not necessarily always comfortable feedback. Like I was telling Sanjay just now, is that I'm going to, have him do things differently if he decides to work with 1M. But the intent is to make you more successful. The reason I'm going to steer you in certain directions is because that's the direction in which I believe you will be more successful. And you have to trust in the process, in our experience, if you choose to join the program and follow that direction. And as I said, we have lots of proof points, lots of experience at this point of generating success in our entrepreneurs. So we know what's going on and what generates success, essentially. But please also be aware that you're going to go to some uncomfortable places, some places that you were not planning to go or you didn't instinctively want to go. So you're going to have to go outside of your comfort zone, change some of your habits and so forth, but all with the intention of becoming more successful as a business. This is the trade-off if you choose to work with 1M. And if that makes you uncomfortable, you shouldn't join the program. Navneet Krishna, my entrepreneurial ventures were running profitable, but I'm not able to scale it up. Will your program help? Absolutely, 100%. Without question. Anybody else? No? No more questions? All right, well, you can always contact Irina with further questions about the program, and she'll help you evaluate and feel more comfortable if you decide to join the program. And if you do, I'll work with you very closely, and we will make sure that you're making progress and getting closer to where you need to be in your journey, in your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you for coming today, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.